I think it's fair to call this the last dance, considering the topics we're talking about today, which directly involves one of the players that will be discussed very shortly. Welcome into Hawk Talk here on 91.7 The Edge, WSUW Whitewater, also streaming live on UWW-TV through YouTube. I'm your host, Chris Pittner, here for this final Tuesday show of the semester, and as always, joined by a fantastic crew of Alex Lazzarini, Ryan Smith, Colin Reynolds, Creston Reynolds, and Michael Vandershoot. Guys, it's a perfect day outside, and it's a great day to talk some sports. What do you guys think?
Yeah, man. Let's get into it.
Feeling groovy.
It's a great feeling to be back here in the studio one last time. And with that, we're going to jump into our Warhawk thought right away. And today we're going to be just kind of reflecting a little bit on the semester, just some of our favorite moments. I know there's been a couple good ones. Laz, I'll start with you. Do you have any favorites that stick out?
Yeah, really all the March Madness stuff we did. The bracket challenge, talking about the games. And then on the Thursday podcast, we were watching one live. It was just a good couple weeks of Hawk Talk.
Yeah, I know our bracket admittedly did not turn out
it sucked.
No, we picked Houston to win it all. That did not happen. I believe they were out in the round of 16. They lost to Duke.
Yeah.
Ryan?
I would say the bracket in the NFL mock draft.
The mock draft was fun for sure.
I should have picked Caleb Williams.
Yeah, Caleb Williams falling all the way to 8 during that was definitely something.
What should have happened in real life.
It's just the wrong quarterback. We just picked the wrong quarterback.
We were all just very low on him for some reason. I don't understand why.
Because we're smarter than the Bears GM.
Who knows? Ryan Poles might be cooking right now.
Christopher.
My apologies. Colin?
Yeah, let me recollect myself. I almost went deaf, but I got a couple from Thursday's show that me and Alex are on with Nolan. Our NBA playoff predictions were pretty fun. Unfortunately, we were living in Fantasyland. We picked the Lakers to go to the finals.
I remember listening to that.
Didn't we pick the Lakers versus the Bucks in the finals?
I think
or the
so.
Celtics. Jeez
I think it was
Louise.
the Bucks beating the Lakers in the final.
Put it on takes that aged poorly, like the freezing
Aged
cold
like
takes
milk,
Twitter
but
page.
in the moment, it was fun. We had a wheel to spin to see who, if we ever had a tie, to see who won. So that was pretty fun. I also liked our mock draft we did on Thursday where Laz kept doing the draft chime. That had some funny moments.
Creston?
Yeah, I think for me, I have one from each show. The Wednesday show, Mason and Brendan always have beef in the fishbowl. I don't know what it is. They always disagree about literally everything. And it just gets a little warm in the fishbowl.
Oh, yeah.
For this show, I think Colin and Laz going off about the Lakers last week was...
Oh, that was cinema.
Yeah,
Part 2 today.
I was going to say, yeah.
It ain't over
The therapy session is going to recommence today.
Spencer Dinwiddie, count your days.
Dude, Torian Prince, count your days.
Yeah, he was laughing in the press conference. Like,
that
what?
was ridiculous. I'm not even going to lie.
He thinks it's just basketball or something.
Yeah. Let's have a Torian Prince half-court shot for the final shot of the season.
Dude, I thought they had a timeout left because that challenge was successful.
I thought the same thing, actually.
Like,
I was sitting there
when
like...
did they use that last time out?
I don't know. I wasn't paying 100% attention to that.
I was locked in, and I don't think they called the timeout after that challenge.
I hate Jamal Murray. I can't
it's like,
do that
as soon
anymore.
as the game was tied and the Nuggets had the ball, I accepted my fate.
Me
I'm like,
too.
I know what's going to happen
Yeah,
here.
me
like,
too.
The second Jamal
details,
touched
buddy.
the ball, I knew exactly what was happening
What
as
are we
well.
putting
I was like, he's not missing that
What are
shot.
we putting Austin Reeves on Jamal Murray for?
Yeah, we get Jared Vanderbilt back just to not play him.
Just to
Our
not
best
play him.
perimeter defender, just sit on the bench, bud.
Darvin hands in pockets.
Darvin ham sandwich.
I mean, he's from the Mike Budenholzer coaching tree, so it only makes sense.
They should all be
Fire.
coaching in Turkey right now.
They should rebuild.
Turkey might be that might be an insult to the Turkish league.
Yeah, honestly. Send him to, like, high school or something.
Michael, do you have any thoughts on the semester?
I mean, it's a pretty fun one, not gonna lie. I, interestingly enough, would have to mention the one thing I did for bringing in my sports journalism topic with the Wisconsin team, and we got to talk about that for a little while. And I feel like it was just the perfect week to get that assignment.
I think the sports journalism topics were a welcome addition to Hawk Talk. I mean, it was nice to have everyone kind of share their perspective a little bit, just people that weren't necessarily as involved like with the shows, like they would come on, share their topic, and then we got to talk about some different things. We talked about college hockey on the Thursday show the week that I was on. Just kind of get to some sports and some other topics that aren't usually just involved specifically with the big three, and I thought that was pretty fun. I know, talking about golf, and we talked about Jordans. It was a good diversity in what we
That one
talked
didn't
about.
count. That one did not count.
What's your favorite Jordan?
Either way, I mean, it was still a fun discussion nonetheless, but I think my favorite was, I'm going to have to piggyback off Creston on this one. The Lakers talk is always just
I'm
hilarious
sure that was
to
very
me.
fun for you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure you guys got a great laugh out of that one.
How about them Bucks, huh?
We don't need to talk about that.
Oh, we will.
Oh, we
Not yet.
certainly do. Need
You're
to
not
talk
out of the
about
mud
that.
yet, Chris.
Oh, no, we're not. We will be in about 4 hours tonight, though.
You're gonna be even deeper in the mud in about 4 hours.
I've accepted my fate with that series. I'm at peace
expect
with it.
Multiple phone calls.
Oh, that group
And
chat.
text from me.
I will not spare you.
I am at peace.
I'm
I'm
gonna-
at peace.
Say that now.
I'm
I
at
will
peace.
break you.
I'm at peace.
I was
I will break
broken
your
after
spirit.
game 3, but ever since then, it's been, I'm just,
Yeah,
I'm at peace
that
with
was me
what's
with the Lakers
transpired.
series.
Yeah.
Going
I'm
down
still,
0-3.
No, I'm not at peace. I thought.
It's
you
just
know,
basketball,
if,
right?
If there's anybody that's gonna do it,
Per the goats.
And I wish they would have almost just got swept instead of getting that one win, because then it gave me 2 extra days of hope. So now it just stings even more that it's all gone.
I don't know why. The way you guys were talking last week, the hope was already drained after game 2.
That was
no,
just
it
such a
never- I
terrible,
still have hope.
heartbreaking shot. Like, yeah, we still had hope we were going back to LA, but to have that game in your hands up by 20 and then get a game winner hit on you,
Mm-hmm.
and it being the Nuggets,
Well, the fact that the Lakers led that series over like 65% of the time, even with game 5 where it was just back and forth the
Yeah.
entire time, it's kind of insane to me that they lost 4-1. It's like, typically I feel like this Lakers team was great going down the stretching games like
Yeah.
that, but they just could not get it done in these last few games.
no, they stink.
they just can't keep a lead. If they have a 30-point lead in the fourth quarter, I don't care. They're still going to lose that game.
It's just LA teams, I guess.
The Clippers are in the same. The Clippers blew a 20-point lead
Yeah.
to the Lakers this season.
And they
Clippers
did-
almost blew a 30-point lead
Yeah, to the Mavs.
to the Mavericks.
Yeah, that was
Thanks to
incredible.
Mr. Uncle Drew.
But moving on, I guess moving right into our next topic, it was great to reflect on the semester a little bit, but we're going to talk a little bit about just the playoffs as a whole. Phoenix going down, the Pelicans going down. I guess we'll start with that Sun series really quickly. What do they have to do? I'll start with Colin on this one, like to, not embarrass themselves again.
I mean, none of their big 3 is a free agent this offseason, if I'm correct.
I
So they
don't
either
believe so.
move them in a trade or keep them all together and run it back. But I just don't think that system works with 3 ball-dominant guys. I mean, Kevin Durant was talking about how he really didn't like his role with that team, just so many possessions where he was just sitting in the corner. And it's like you got to put more pieces around that can move and create a flowing offense instead of getting the ball in one guy's hands who's just going to dribble around and create a shot. So, yeah, it was a super team, but they just didn't fit well together.
It was kind of like that 2012, 2013 Lakers team a little
Yeah.
bit, where it's like they got a bunch of guys that just did not fit, or the 2022 Lakers even when they got Russ on that team. It's like that just did not work, and I don't know why people didn't think that. Like I myself included thought the Lakers were going to make a deep, deep run that year, and it just
Yeah.
did not happen.
Yeah, me too. Me as well.
Every year, I think the Lakers are going to make a deep run.
Every single year.
Creston, where did the Suns go from here?
I mean, it also doesn't help that they have an absolute cone at center in Yusuf Nurkic. Like, he doesn't really... Like, when you had Ayton, I feel like you had a little bit of... He didn't really stretch the floor very well, but at least he could shoot the mid-range. I feel like Yusuf Nurkic just kind of stands there.
All he does is grab boards.
Yeah. I think you got to get depth, obviously. I mean, Grayson Allen's injury wasn't the best case scenario, and you're already down, 2-0. But, yeah, I think like Colin was saying, having 3 ball-dominant people is just not, especially with Frank Vogel at head coach, he's kind of like just sitting there wondering what to do and how to kind of get everybody the ball without people knowing they're going to get the ball.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting on that team. Just like, I think Frank Vogel was kind of put in a bit of a predicament with that
Yeah.
team. Just every time I watch them, they just don't look good. Even if they're winning, they just look rough.
I will say, though, they either look really good or like very average.
That's fair. Michael?
Well, I mean, if they do want to keep their team together, I would agree with Crescent in saying that like they need depth because I mean, outside of like who they have right now, it's not really any notable names outside of like Grayson Allen, perhaps, or like Eric Gordon.
Bol
Or Bol
didn't
Bol.
play at all like that
But-
entire series.
If you want my personal opinion, though, I just think that they should just get rid of like their entire starting lineup. I think they just need to start from scratch.
Blow it up.
Yeah.
Well, then what do they do
It's
with
done for
that
them.
What do
big
they-
three? Just
they're
trade them all?
Yeah, what do they do with Booker is my big question in that situation.
You
It's
gotta
like
keep Book.
You gotta get rid of
gotta
Bradley
keep him.
Beal.
Yeah, get rid of him.
Beal and
9
Durant, I just don't
points.
think fit
He
on that team.
doesn't know how to play
Yeah,
basketball
that's
anymore.
what I'm saying.
When he's making $53 million a year, what I could see happening is like he goes to like a bottom feeder in the league and then just gets a buyout
Like the
probably.
Wizards?
Yeah, like the Wizards.
Yeah.
Nah, not the Wizards because they're
Well,
already
well, well.
paying a couple of guys a decent amount of
Yeah.
money. If they buy out him too on top of whatever Chris Paul's payments were, they're just going to be drowning in cap for the next like couple of years. He's got to go to a team that has like a ton of space available and then just kind of be.
5-year, $251 million
That was a ridiculous deal.
robbery.
I don't even know
For
who
him
has
to
that
literally
kind of-
lose you a playoff game, go out there and single-handedly
The
lose you a
playoff
game.
game.
But who has money like that though? Like
That's the question.
like we can argue that
Detroit maybe.
maybe, but like we can even argue
Bradley
like
Beal,
Charlotte
you
doesn't even have that kind
Are
of
a
money.
Detroit Pistons.
Well, and Charlotte's going to want to pay LaMelo, Bridges,
Right.
and Mark Williams probably when
Yeah.
they're all healthy.
I just feel like when you look at the bottom tier teams, either they won't want somebody making that much or they don't have the money to.
I think the Suns are truly in no man's land right
Yeah.
now. Alex, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, kind of going off what everybody said. They kind of just got to blow up that big three. Get rid of Beal, keep Booker, and then Durant, kind of a wild card. I feel like if you get a good point guard in there who is more than willing to facilitate the ball,
Chris Paul.
yeah, maybe. Maybe.
He was the
Cliff Paul.
liability on that team at
Yeah.
times, though,
No,
in the
yeah.
last few years of his. He's got to
Actually,
retire.
that was
Maybe somebody
that
who's
was
not
Scott
38.
Foster.
That as well. I mean, like specifically 2023, Chris Paul. Like,
Yeah,
Buns.
yeah, they just need
he's
a better.
he needs to just learn retirement pretty soon.
Yeah, keep golfing or bowling or whatever he does.
I feel like if they had like a Josh Hart on their team,
hustle guy.
Yeah,
If they
just
had like a
glue
Mikal
guy.
Bridges on that team, I
They
feel
need
like
a-
they'd be really good. Or a
That's
Cam
crazy.
Johnson.
They need
That's
a glue
crazy.
guy.
Yeah.
they do need a glue guy, and Beal is not it.
No. Ryan?
Yeah, the Suns were one of the teams I was cheering for in the playoffs.
Why?
I didn't think they'd play well. They did not play well in all 4 games. They couldn't stop Anthony Edwards.
I mean, he's tough to stop no matter who you
Yeah, I
are.
think
You
even
mean
Kevin
Michael
Durant
Jordan
said after the
Jr.?
game
Illegitimate Michael Jordan.
about Anthony Edwards, my favorite player to watch.
He's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. I mean, he's bouncy. There's no doubt about that.
40
I saw him
points to
dunk
eliminate
on
his
Kevin
all-time
Durant the other
favorite
day.
player is
Yeah.
crazy.
But I guess moving on to the next team, the Bucks, treading on very thin ice right now, down 3-1. If they lose this game, which it's looking like they will, just because they don't have anyone healthy, Bobby Portis got ejected the other day. Morale's got to be pretty low in that locker room. Colin, where would you go from here with this team?
And obviously, looking at this series, it's 3-1. It's a lot of it has been out of their control with the injuries, but some changes do need to be made. I mean, Doc Rivers, is that who you want as your head coach? Who else can you get, really?
They just paid him so much money.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're stuck with him. They really are because
But-
they're already paying Adrian Griffin off the books, and I think they're still honoring Mike Budenholzer the rest of his contract too. I would assume.
As good as Brook Lopez was in Game 4, he's got to go. He's a complete brick wall. If you put him outside of 5 feet from the basket, he can't guard anybody. Just a
I
liability.
think I could score on Brook
defense.
Lopez out there.
Absolutely. Pat Connaughton has been just buns. I mean,
Abysmal.
the last time he put up 10 points, I don't even know.
He can't shoot. It's like there's times where I'll see him wide open. And it's like, you know what, Beasley, I'd rather have you shoot it, and
Yeah,
Beasley's
yeah.
not shooting well either.
I like keeping Beasley on that team. Having those 3-and-D guys is nice. They've got some good pieces that fill out that roster, and they've got some good young potential in Andre Jackson Jr. He's been great, and Giannis and Dame. That's a great core to build around. And Chris Middleton, if he can actually play consistent, I'd say you give that big three another shot, but change some pieces. Like Bobby Portis might even have to go. Brook Lopez out of there. Just a little kind of a bit of a culture change, I guess.
Yeah, I think Bobby is going to be the type of guy. It's like A.J. Dillon for the Packers a little bit, where it's
Yeah.
like he's just going to kind of have to stick around as like
Yeah.
the fan piece, because like Bobby will do anything and the fans will start chanting his name.
Yeah.
He could be 1 for 9, hit one shot, and people start chanting for him. It's like he's just a good engagement guy, I guess is how I'd have to put it, but he is a little immature at times
It would
too.
hurt to get rid of him, but I mean, when we already have our 2 best players out, you want to go and get ejected. Like they were going to lean on him a lot that game.
Yeah,
And
Bobby
he
and
opened his-
Chris were going to be the 2 main scorers that game, and it just didn't work out that way.
and he's not a great defender either. I mean, other than Game 4, he's been letting Pascal Siakam just do anything. on
Pretty
him.
much.
If you're outside of 10 feet, chances are you're going to walk him.
Yeah.
Walk him.
Yeah, the Bucks need just a defensive. Like, this sounds so funny, but like if Wemby was on the Bucks,
Yeah.
it would be game over.
They need big men who can actually play perimeter defense. Move
Like
their
a
feet little
Miles
bit.
Turner, like he was a
Yeah.
trade option a couple of years ago when he was kind of struggling for the Pacers at times and the team wasn't playing great. I feel like if they would have pounced on Turner then, that would have made a world of
Yeah.
difference now.
Too late now.
Yep. Creston?
I mean, I think we're kind of seeing this Doc Rivers effect down the stretch. It feels like in the third quarter, sometimes even fourth quarter, they're in the game, and then you like look up again and they're down 10. Like it just seems like they don't really. Obviously, with the injuries, you don't really have those guys that can, be a Dame and shoot from 40 feet out, or you don't have a Giannis that can just go and drive, get the fouls, and get free throws. But I feel like you can't just rely on those 2 in general because that gets you in trouble in the playoffs. And I feel like that's what happens with the Suns is you rely on 2 or 3 guys, and then what else do you have?
I mean, it's tough because like this Bucks team last year with a lot of these same pieces was considered one of the strongest benches in the NBA. But it's like the regression from guys like Jay Crowder, Pat
Yeah.
Connaughton, it's like they're unplayable borderline at this point.
Yeah, and I also feel like if Giannis was in the series, Siakam, he'd be a factor, but he would not go off like he did in those first 2 games.
36 and 35
Yeah.
back-to-back is.
I think it's fair to say that the Bucks would be tied 2-2 if Giannis was in this series. I still
Yeah.
think they lose games 2 and 4 even if he plays.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on if Dame gets injured too. I think
Right.
if we had Dame and Giannis, I think Bucks are up 3-1 in this series.
Most likely.
It's
I
just-
still think they drop game 2 just because there's not much you can do in that game.
Yeah.
Indiana shot the lights
Yeah,
out.
they weren't missing.
But it's like down the stretch in a lot of games too. It's like Dame gets double and triple teamed because they know the Bucks don't have anyone else that can kind of lead them in a fourth quarter
Yeah, they-
situation.
Chris Middleton's just going to take a fadeaway with 3 guys on him and just airball.
Michael?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Colin the point of like they don't really have any good centers on the team, and even then, like again, you didn't say like Brook Lopez is a good defender, and I would have to agree with that. But they don't even have really anyone really at Savati down there, and I feel like that's been part of the reason why they've been so bad defensively. Even though on paper they should be better.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's really tough because I mean like Middleton, he was not great defensively from what I noticed in Game 4 either. Like obviously you can cherry pick 1 or 2 moments from anybody and say that they're a bad defender, but Middleton was
Yeah.
getting scored on consistently by guys like Nembhard and Neesmith who just I don't know, they're not the best offensive players in the game. Alex?
Yeah, I mean, Indiana and Milwaukee just kind of play 2 different styles of basketball. Indiana's more just anyone grab the rebound, everybody's just running down the floor full speed. It's easy to get ahead. Milwaukee kind of plays slower unless it's crunch time. I mean, we've all seen them pick up the pace, but for the most part, they're a slow-playing team. I mean, this Indiana team, they've just had the Bucks number all season, despite the playoffs. All regular season, they were kind of beating them up and down. And now we get to the playoffs, and there's no Giannis, and there's no Dame. But I feel like even with Giannis and Dame, like you said, it'd still be 2-2 or maybe even 3-1 Pacers still.
I disagree. I think the Bucks take Game 3 if Giannis is healthy
You think
because
so?
it went to the Bucks with all the injuries, Dame not really being good
But
to go in that
It would have
game
been a
either.
whole completely different game, though.
It would've
Indiana
been.
would
It's
not
hard,
have
it's hard
played
to,
like that.
to say what would have happened with
Right.
Giannis because it
So
would have
what-
been a completely different series. We wouldn't have had Bobby Portis guarding Pascal Siakam, you know.
Giannis would have probably been guarding Pascal
Yeah,
Siakam.
he would have locked him up.
Ryan?
You know what sucks, though? That Nembhard has to go out there every night and try and guard Dame. Well, not anymore, I guess, because Dame's hurt, but
Dame's done.
games 1 and 2, you could see him just struggling every time he was guarding Dame.
When he was picking him up the full 90, is it 92 or 94?
94.
feet? He was picking him up the full 94. Like, the second he touched the ball, Nemhard was on him.
And did nothing.
That's got to be
But I know
exhausting.
he's a good defender, but it's like Dame was just taking him to school those first 2 games.
Pretty much. Until the end, when they would really just clamp down on Dame because they knew a lot of the other Bucks kind of shy away at times. Ryan?
Yeah, like even before the Pacers-Bucks series started, a lot of people were saying even with or without Giannis, the Pacers Indiana would still win the series.
I didn't disagree with that. I'll put it that way. I didn't think it was a hot
Yeah,
take
and
at
then
all.
Looking at this, I think Lillard and Giannis are doubtful. Even it says Beverly and Middleton are probable.
Middleton will
Yeah.
play. I think he'll play.
No, Middleton and Beverly.
Yeah, they're probable, which means most likely they're going to be out there. But yeah, I think tonight's probably going to be the last game for the Bucks. But moving on, I
Thank
just
you,
want to
Milwaukee. Thank
Yeah,
you, Bucks fans.
thank you.
Thank you,
fans.
Bucks fans.
the best fans in the league. Moving on to the next one, I just want to touch on the Lakers really quick before we move on to the LeBron thing. Guys, let it out. I'll let Colin and Laz at the mic for a little bit.
Yeah, Darvin Ham is gone. I mean, they haven't announced it yet, but he's fired. Just in case you guys haven't known, he's gone. He's not coming back. And
It's been officially announced.
no, but he's gone. He's not coming back.
I don't know what else more there is to say about them. You know, being the 7th seed and arguably playing the best team in the NBA
Yeah,
right off the rip. I was
unfortunate
like, oh,
circumstances.
great.
I
You
mean,
know,
for the
they
last
play OKC. They drop
Yeah.
that play-in game
Yeah.
and then go and play the Kings or Warriors. Dude, that's Lakers in 6.
they got put in the
No
worst
issue.
possible situation because this team was playing like a team that could have been one of the top 4 teams in the West, but they had that stretch from like December to before like the All-Star break where they were just buns and under 500 at that point.
My question is,
11.
why do they have this stretch every season? Because it feels like this has happened every year since 2020.
Because they're just on nonchalant mode the first until All-Star break, and then they're like, oh my God, we might miss the playoffs.
There's a lot of pressure playing with LeBron, so a lot of guys. You'll see many guys. KCP, who's a bucket on the Nuggets now, shot terribly when he was with the Lakers.
Danny
So
Green
many
played
guys like
garbage
that
with us.
who are supposed to be shooters, and you get shooters around LeBron because that's what you do, and then they come in and they're not shooters anymore. Torian Prince.
Torian Prince?
Yeah, Spencer Dinwiddie,
You kidding me?
Rui Hachimura.
The last shot of the season you're going to give to Torian Prince. Oh
And-
my
I-
God.
And the coaching, too. I mean, you're putting out terrible lineups that just result in other teams going on big runs that you can't really get back from. And injuries as well, but you can't really blame it all on injuries
Dude,
because there's
Darvin Ham couldn't coach
bigger
an
things to
intramural
look at
team.
than injuries.
I need him for my intramural team.
No, you don't. Your team will be worse.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, I've watched, like, there's a couple coaches in the league where it's like you see them and it's like, what are they, like JB Bickerstaff's kind of another one, like with the Cavs for me. It's like, what
Yeah.
is he doing? It's like they have way too much talent on that team to be. It's not even that they're losing to the Magic because the Magic are a decent team, don't get me wrong, but why are they losing by 30 every
Yeah.
time?
Why can they not get 100 points?
Yeah, they also got out rebounded in Game 3 by 19. You have Eben Mobley and Jarrett Allen on your team. How are you getting? Who is even the Magic center? Wendell Carter.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
probably-
getting out
It's
rebounded
like the
by
Wagners
19.
and Paulo, I think, are doing most
That
of that.
is. That's even worse.
I
like-
want to. Yeah, go ahead. Never mind.
No, I was gonna say that's
I'm-
even worse that you're letting small forwards and
I'm
power
so
forwards
mad.
out rebound you when you're one of the best rebounders in the entire league.
The defense from that Lakers series was just the most horrendous display of basketball, organized professional basketball I've ever seen in my entire life. You know, Jokic is coming up to set a screen for Michael Porter Jr., who every time that man touches the ball
It's
against the
going in.
It
Lakers,
turns to
goes
gold.
in.
going in.
It's
goes
turning
in.
to gold.
It got to the point where I just looked at the TV and I was like, stop.
The
Like, stop
Lakers
it. Please
have
stop.
no idea how to guard that high pick and roll with Jokic and Murray.
Go over it. Stop
That's how I
going
feel
under
the
it.
second Pascal Siakam touches the basketball.
Every time that high pick and roll happens, either Jokic gets it in the low post and gets a dumb little hook shot, or Jamal Murray just goes all the way and slams it down, or they kick it out to one of their guys who are gonna make the shot.
And
every
there's
time.
just like 4 yellow jerseys
Watching.
around the paint.
Yeah.
And
Their
Jamal Murray
rotations are
just-
terrible.
and everybody's
They're in awe.
It
you know?
feels like they're undisciplined. It really
Yeah.
does.
And it's like,
It's like they
you've
don't
played
really know
you've
what they're
played this
doing.
team like 20 times in the last 18 months or whatever. They've played them so much. You'd think they would have it at least a little figured out. But then you watch it, and there's so many possessions where Michael Porter Jr. or KCP will just get wide open threes.
wide open.
It's like, what are you doing with the rotations?
That's how
is-
I feel watching a Bucks game.
What's happening with the miscommunication? Like, how is there not a guy on him? A guy who's burned you so many times. Get him in.
Torian Prince needs to be in the Pakistani basketball league because this is just
It's ridiculous. I guess my next question, just really quickly for the two of you, where do you guys go from here?
Well, it
Don't care.
depends on what LeBron does. If LeBron leaves, blow it up. If LeBron stays, then you have to retool it and try to go at a championship run again. But Darvin Ham's gone.
I honestly trade Anthony Davis.
I was gonna say, do you keep Anthony Davis?
No, you do not, but you do keep D'Lo. You keep D'Lo.
Do you keep D'Lo?
You do.
Dude, I don't know, man.
Darvin Ham.
Yeah, he's gone.
Darvin
He's
Ham
gone.
is
He's already been gone.
Ryan, he's gone.
gone. He was gone yesterday.
He's on the plane right
he's
now.
in Siberia
No,
right now.
he's not actually gone. But
Yeah, but
Gonna
been
go coach a
excommunicated.
D3 team.
also, if LeBron leaves, do both of you leave?
no. What do you mean?
Like, do you follow LeBron to his next team?
Part of me will always be a Lakers fan.
I mean,
say
I'll
that.
watch him, but I'm not gonna be their fan.
Okay, I was just wondering if this was like a pure LeBron allegiance to the Lakers,
no.
or if this is.
I honestly I don't even like him there anymore, to be honest. It's just.
I see a
getting-
lot of Lakers fans saying that.
It's getting old. It's
mean-
getting old, dude. Every single. We had that one year in 2019 or 2020, excuse me. And then the year after that, what? First round exit. Year after that,
Didn't
missed
make the playoffs.
Year
Yeah,
after
first
that,
round
first
exit,
round exit.
missed playoffs. Western Conference Finals swept.
Oh yeah.
First
The
round,
greatest sweep of all
gentlemen
time.
Swept. That's just the hard part, is because at the end of the year, they always look like they could make a
It
deeper
feels like they're
They have
right
the
there.
tools.
They're right
you
there.
have
Yeah.
the tools.
run. Well, the hard
Use
part is
the
too.
tools.
It's like you could go and get more role players that this team is going to compete. But every time a player goes to the Lakers and plays with LeBron, they just turn
They
into a
forget
shell
how
of
to
their
play
full
ball.
selves.
Vincent.
Watch, Torian Prince is going to go to some team like, I don't know, some other
Houston.
team like Houston, and he's going to be a 40% three-point shooter next year.
Dude,
I promise.
they
Malik
just have a
Beasley
bunch-
did the same thing this year.
Malik Monk.
They just have a bunch of donkeys in the head office. Like, people who cannot use their brains.
Cam Reddish, what happened to him this year?
Who knows? They took him out back and beat his kneecaps in and just left him there. I don't know where he's been. He's not even on the bench. He's just probably sitting on the couch.
I think he's been hurt, but even if he wasn't
Whatever.
hurt,
I
don't
didn't
want him
hear
out
a
there.
single word about what he did all season.
But you had Spencer Dinwiddie.
Oh,
Shut
yeah,
up.
Great.
Why was
Shut up, Preston.
Creston's
Don't
starting
say that.
fires here.
Don't say the name.
Hired somebody's grandpa to play the game.
He might have been
I
just
would
as
have
good as
rather just
Dinwiddie.
hired Joe Johnson or Jamal Crawford or something. Let him go out there and get buckets. than Spencer
Bogdanovich.
Dinwiddie.
ISO Joe.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Dinwiddie was like a serviceable player for a couple of years. I don't know what happened.
He
He-
went to the Lakers.
he went to the Lakers.
Yeah, that's what happened.
I mean,
got his
even
powers
before that, though,
stripped.
like this year when he was with, I
Yeah.
think it was Brooklyn, he just was not good. Like, flat out, just was not good.
Old.
But the Lakers saw that and they were like,
Yeah, we should
Get him
pay
on
him.
our team.
They get guys based
We
on
need
names.
him.
They get Gabe Vincent. They're like, oh, people know Gabe Vincent from last year's playoffs. They get Spencer Dinwiddie. They're like, oh, people know Spencer Dinwiddie from 2 years ago, and he scored 30 points.
Also, really quickly, just before we
Once.
move on to the debate, why is Miami's offense so rough?
Because
No Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Max Strus,
That
I guess.
Celtics defense is really good.
It's suffocating.
and they scored.
Because
They,
they're playing the number one team. They're playing the number one team is dominated like all year.
yeah, I will
Yeah.
say also they scored 23 threes in one game, so they're probably just tired. They're probably like, that's
Yeah.
all the shooting we got, guys.
Whatever, we tried. We're on
did
TV.
it all.
They're the Spurs in the playoffs. They're just happy
guys
to
were
be
on
there.
national
They're-
television.
Yeah, I will say though, I think the Celtics have like the easiest road to the NBA Finals.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Like Cavs and Magic.
the Bucks are going to be out
Man.
tonight. Yeah, Cavs, Magic.
and then it'll probably be Knicks Pacers.
I think the Knicks will probably win that series
Yeah.
because their defense is superior to what Milwaukee's is.
The NBA
It'll
is
be-
drooling over
yeah.
that though.
Oh,
Boston
Celtics,
versus New
Knicks.
York. Yeah.
What do you
drooling.
think happens to all New York infrastructure if the Knicks make it to the Eastern Conference Finals?
I don't even want to think about that.
Against Boston? Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
It would be. That'd be a civil war.
Yeah.
Just between.
It would be
New
like
York
Yankees,
and
Red Sox, but
Massachusetts,
even
yeah.
more popular because
Yeah.
it's basketball. I mean, bright side for Lakers fans. Real Madrid's doing pretty well in Champions League.
Yankees are doing good.
Alabama retooling for the year. Yeah, the Yankees are first in their
What is this, a
division,
bandwagon
and the
joke?
Cowboys
Yeah, it
they're
is.
fourth in the power rankings.
And they
but-
just signed Ezekiel Elliott. so
Exactly. They got
are-
Zeke back.
Timbers.
So they got some positives on the horizon. But moving
bud.
on to the next topic, this is a
Do you
much.
believe this
This
guy?
guy.
Do you believe this guy?
This
Wait
is
till 6 o'clock, Chris.
Yeah, wait till 6.
No, they play at 8:30, don't they?
the Bucks. Yeah, 8:30.
Why?
Oh, they're talking about after the
Wait
show.
till we're
but-
off air.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're talking about when Chris Pittner gets to the parking lot.
Got a crowbar in my backpack.
Moving on to the next topic, we
It's a
got
joke,
the
it's a joke.
we got the LeBron
got the
versus
crowbar on.
Jordan debates.
I don't even
This
know-
is a
you
much
couldn't have
awaited
picked-
debate. Colin is quite literally
Yeah, you
stretching
couldn't-
back
You
there.
couldn't have picked
A
the
worse
worst time
day.
to do this, actually.
I said all
We got our
semester it
backs
was gonna be
against
the
our
last
walls.
show. But my first question is gonna be Colin and Laz. I'm gonna play a little bit for both sides. I think I'm gonna be devil's advocate throughout the show. Colin and Laz. First question I have: explain 4-6 to me, please. Finals record 4-6 versus 6-0.
They played the greatest team of all time. 4 years in a row.
Not to say that LeBron didn't have help though.
What about the Mavericks?
2015.
Yeah. What about the Mavericks series?
Yeah, that year, that 1 year.
What about the Bucks
That
Heat
was a dud.
series, huh? What about the Bucks Heat series?
This
last year?
that's
What
irrelevant.
about Bucks Pacers?
That's irrelevant.
Okay, you want to talk about 4-6? 2007. Plays a dynasty, and he's the only guy out there. Led his team to 66 wins as the only guy who knew how to play basketball on that team. Of course he's going to get swept. What is he supposed to do? He wasn't even supposed
He
to be
also
there.
had one of the easiest runs to the finals of all time to make it that far.
Well, it's like, are you going to blame him for getting there? Because he shouldn't have even been there in the first place.
I don't disagree with you, but Jordan, I think, had a tougher road to get to the finals in the first
Yeah, but he
place
had
a lot
Scottie
of those
Pippen.
times.
Nobody dribbled with their left hand back then.
Yeah. They had to play a 39-year-old Magic Johnson their first year in the finals.
Yeah,
That
ooh.
Lakers team was buns by then.
I'm not even talking about that. Having to overcome the bad boy Pistons, who the game was totally different
Who
back then.
Bounced him
Ooh.
in the first round.
Big
3
bad
years
Bill
in a row.
Laimbeer.
Isaiah Thomas.
Bill Laimbeer was nothing
Dude,
but an electrician.
Isaiah Thomas dribbled the
A
ball.
big
through-
fat electrician.
Isaiah Thomas dribbled the ball through his leg, and the announcers acted like it was witchcraft.
Yeah, I
that
was
just
gonna
shows
say.
you how much the game has changed.
Yeah, but that you could also make the same argument that if you move Jordan into today's NBA, I mean, I know me and you were talking
He
about
beat
this a
DeMar
little bit.
DeRozan.
I said he'd beat Jamal Murray.
But who says he doesn't have a better three-point shot because it's emphasized so much more these days?
He probably would.
Probably would.
But that's
It's like the whole kind of knock
size
against.
is size. Like, I mean, what's he gonna do? Just be a Michael Porter
But I
Jr.
think if you want to talk about switching Michael Jordan and LeBron James, I think LeBron would succeed so much more in the 90s than Michael Jordan would in the 2010s.
I
LeBron
can't
would
say I
win the
disagree with
championship
that. I think they were
every
both
year.
kind of tailored to their era.
Can I bring up a rebuttal to that?
Go ahead.
I feel like, not every time, but I feel like LeBron gets very soft whistles. So I feel
Soft whistles. He gets
So-
no calls.
like, sometimes I'm saying. But I'm saying like.
Depends on who they're playing
Yeah,
against.
but I feel like if the
Same with what
yeah.
Jordan probably got back
I feel
in the
like
day.
if the Pistons were to rough him up, I feel like, I don't know, it'd fluster him a little bit.
LeBron is 6'9", 260. You want to throw Bill Laimbeer at him?
But LeBron also
He's
likes to.
postering him 10 plays a
LeBron
game.
likes to embellish from time to time.
Get
Yeah,
the foul.
well,
Get the foul.
You gotta
Get the
sell it when they
foul.
don't want. I mean, he's just
But
so
back
much
in the day,
bigger than everybody else.
embellishing was strictly frowned upon.
I think the reason he does that so much is he's so much bigger than everybody else that it's hard to tell when he gets fouled, so he has to sell it a little bit. Like if he just goes up and gets slapped, it won't really affect him. So he has to sell it so the refs can see it.
I guess, Michael, Ryan, do you have any thoughts about anything that's been said so far?
Not entirely. I mean, just.
Pick a side, buddy. You're either with us or against
Yeah,
us.
you
Oh.
gotta pick.
I mean,
well, I'm
you told
against
me you were with Jordan this morning.
Yeah, I am.
Wow. Traitor.
But, so your entire argument that he was 4-6 in the finals because of the Warriors, I want you to explain, though, the Maverick series a little bit. Like, what happened in that one?
That was a dud.
Yeah, I mean,
Plain and
bad
simple.
But
series.
Jordan never
Just a bad
had a
series.
dud in the finals.
Oh my.
Yeah, in the finals, but everywhere
I mean,
else.
but if Jordan went to 10, he might have. You know, He only went 6.
When you go to when
But
you go
either
to
way,
10,
6-0 is a
11
lot,
years.
objectively a lot better than 4-6.
Right, but 6-0
That's
in the finals.
but that's
back
one
then,
stat.
I mean,
That's a finals record.
But it's also 6-0 in 7 years.
Yes.
oh my.
Like, I don't know.
8, buddy.
Whatever. But, like,
I don't count the 2 years that he was out.
yeah, but
He
I also,
essentially didn't lose a finals when he was playing for more than 17 games for 6 years.
but you're also telling me right now, if Jokic goes 6-0 and goes 6 for 7, you guys wouldn't be, like, in awe of that?
I'd say he's the
I
greatest center
definitely-
of all time.
Yeah, I
Right.
definitely would.
I'd give him his flowers. I don't really want to hear the name Jokic right now, Creston.
Nor Jamal Murray.
I just thought of them because they won the
I
Well, I
started
mean, you
seeing
brought
that.
up Jamal Murray
But-
in the pre-show discussion.
Knock it off.
It took Michael Jordan 7 years to get to the finals. It took LeBron like 2.5. He was still like 22, and he led that Cavs team to 66 wins in a finals appearance.
But that Eastern Conference was so much weaker than Jordan's East was. When he was first coming into the league, he had to go up against the likes of Larry Bird, quite literally.
Oh my.
yeah, and he got swept. And
He had
got swept
63
and he got
points.
bounced by the Pistons
All right.
3 times in the first round.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna throw this out there. I, was a Jordan fan up until LeBron went back to Cleveland, and then I was like, wow, this guy is old, and he's still just
Dominating.
Incredible.
dominating, dude.
Remember
And I
that,
was
that
like,
iconic tweet? LeBron is 30. This won't go on for much longer.
Yeah,
9
and
years later, it's
9
still
Yeah, I
going
was
on.
actually going to bring that up to the Jordan people. I think the main counter to Jordan is definitely just statistical and longevity. What do you guys have to say about? Because Jordan did play until he was 40. He retired twice. I think he missed about 4.5 years of ball in between there. But
Wade. I mean, that Wizards team.
he didn't
like,
even.
yeah,
he
he
did not
played
make the
all
playoffs
right.
with that team. What is your kind of counter argument to the whole longevity, excuse me, of LeBron James still averaging 26 points per game at age 39?
I mean, I feel like for me, if you talk about longevity, you have to think about what Jordan did in the less amount of years that he did it. Like 9-time All Defensive, 3-time Steal champion. I mean, 14-time All Star,
Stat pattern. Classic stat padding.
Huh?
3-time Steal title, stat padding.
Yep.
Michael, the possession
Yep.
ends here. Jordan.
I will also say that Jordan reached 30K points 147 games less than LeBron.
What
Jordan
age?
averaged over 30 for his career.
Yeah.
He had, I believe, 8 times where he scored over 30 points per game. And in 5 of those seasons, he shot over 50% from the field, despite only shooting 32% from 3.
Okay, so if we're talking about averages, wouldn't Luka Doncic be the best player of all time? Or like
The era
Elgin
was so
Baylor?
much
Yeah.
different. The difference is, though, is the
If we're
era
talking
was so
about
much
finals
different.
record, let's look at Bill Russell.
Right.
Yeah, but Jordan kind of
I was
combined
gonna
all
say,
of those
yeah.
things. It's not just the averages, it's the record, the run that those teams just had together. He's got 5 MVPs to LeBron's 4, and LeBron's played 7 more seasons than
LeBron
him.
could have won the MVP
I
7
hate you,
times.
Chris. I
2018,
hate
that he
you.
could have won the MVP. When
I don't
Derrick
like
Rose
you.
won it, that was voters' fatigue. Like, he won 4 in 5 years. It was an insane run. He was the best player in the world for 10+ years.
I mean, nobody's disagreeing with
Yeah, he
that.
could, like MVPs. It's like he could have won so many more. It was just voters' fatigue.
I guess also another counter I have for LeBron in the argument is that he's a better rebounder and a better facilitator. How do the Jordan supporters kind of argue against that?
I mean, LeBron, yeah, is obviously the better facilitator, better rebounder, but LeBron, I feel like also it kind of cancels itself out when you think about how good of a defender Jordan was. In a way,
Against dudes who can't dribble with their left.
If LeBron was guarding those guys, they would have peed their pants.
Yeah. I don't think they would have gotten
Yeah, he would have
past
been a
half court.
5-time steals champ back then. Those getting in those passing lanes. Some of the passes they were throwing back then would have been picked off LeBron and turned into 360 dunks.
Nobody does bounce passes. I mean, like, nobody does chest-to-chest bounce passes
Yeah.
anymore, and they were back then.
They would stop, look at the guy they're going to pass it to, and throw it to him. LeBron
Yeah.
is all over that.
but you're also thinking about LeBron now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
If LeBron was trained in that era, that's why it's so hard to compare
Yeah.
players of
Then it'd be
different
like
eras.
Wilt. I mean, look at
Well,
what
the
Wilt
one thing
was
you
doing
can't
back
change
then.
about LeBron is that he's going to be 6'9", 260.
That
Like,
is true.
His
That is the one
physicality.
thing you cannot change.
People
That's what
bring
I'm
up
saying about
physicality in
Wilt.
the 90s. Like, he would have dominated regardless.
but then I feel like it would be more of a conversation of is LeBron better than Bill Russell because it was more of a positional thing.
Is LeBron better than Bill Russell?
No, I'm
Yes.
saying.
I don't
I'm
think
saying,
that's a question.
No.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying like.
These two are undeniably, in my mind, 1 and 2.
No, I'm saying like if LeBron played in Jordan's era, because 6'9" at that time was, I mean, it wasn't necessarily like not normal, but 6'9" and a dominant guy wasn't necessarily.
Back then, the game was also so much more center oriented. Now it's
Yeah.
more guard and forward oriented than
That's-
it was back then.
That's what I mean. I'm saying
I'll
like,
give you both.
yeah, would LeBron be like the best big guy in history if he was back then? Probably.
He might have been trained entirely differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like this argument, especially today, especially after yesterday, especially.
I'm going to
you know,
leave that
after-
series out and pretty much anything that's happened in the last 2 years because he's 39 years old.
Yeah.
In Jordan's last 2 years, in all fairness, LeBron has accomplished far more than Jordan did in his last 2 years.
Yeah. And
Jordan was under 50% shooting in both those seasons, missed the playoffs, I believe, in both of those seasons. And to be honest, I just don't really think it's fair to compare them at the absolute twilight of their career. I'd rather focus on what they did more in their primes.
And I think a lot of it back then, everybody tried every single game, and now people just kind of treat the regular season like a walkthrough, like LA Fitness.
Kind of, yeah, like almost like a
you
pickup
got
game
load
at times.
management.
Yeah,
You know?
and then where you end up at the end of the season, then you gotta play the Nuggets.
What
Yeah.
What year or stage would you say is the best LeBron?
Oh,
there's so
that's a
many.
debate in itself. I would
They're
say
just like all different.
I personally
types of
say
players.
2016 to 2018 LeBron is the most complete
Probably.
and talented LeBron. You could
Yeah.
argue that like
2013.
2012, 2013 is probably when he was at his peak, like performance-wise. I think talent-wise, 2016 to 2018. Athleticism-wise, probably late 2000s, early 2010s when he was with Miami mainly.
I was just asking just because like I feel like people say Miami LeBron is maybe the best just because I feel like
No, it's got to be Cleveland. It's gotta be
2018
late-
LeBron was
Yeah, it's got to be late
insane.
Cleveland.
yeah, but you also have to think about like I feel like LeBron really showcased his talent when he was with Wade and Bosch more. Just because in Cleveland I feel like you had a ball dominant guy in like Kyrie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like he was getting the ball more, but I feel like I don't know, in Miami he was just kinda he wanted
He had
not to
one
show
ball.
off. He didn't want to show off, but like he wanted to
He had
make-
a little more room for, error.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Right. But I was just saying that because, I mean, if Miami LeBron was the best, then he lost probably his worst final series in that time.
I also I want to bring this up really quick. Just aura. Like I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but like
Aura.
just like the aura and the power that these guys kind of carried with each other. I think Jordan was always like, I know me and Colin talked a little bit about this earlier with the fear factor that both of these players
I put that
had.
in my notes too, yeah.
I think I know you brought up some good instances of people being afraid of LeBron, but I think everyone was afraid of Jordan and what he could do to people.
I feel
Not
like
Gary Payton.
yeah, I was gonna say I feel like people were scared of MJ because they hadn't seen something like that before. Like MJ was like we were talking about, good defensively. He was a scorer. I feel like LeBron kind of we've seen it before. It's just hard to stop LeBron because like we were talking about, he's a 6'9", 250 guy.
I also think as a person, LeBron is more likable, like as a human being,
Yeah.
than Jordan is. There's no denying that in my eyes.
I don't think so.
I have to give him that because
Yeah, he didn't
Jordan.
get banned from the
Yeah,
league for
Jordan was a
gambling.
degenerate gambler.
Yes, there was a lot of things
Allegedly.
that Jordan did in his personal life that were a bit more like LeBron for all the negative talk on him for being, kind of a crybaby sometimes and whatnot, but he's stayed out of
God for-
trouble. He came from a incredibly tough situation as a child, made his way into the league, and he stayed out of trouble for 21
Yeah.
years now. Like that's incredible.
And he didn't need to go to college for 3 years and develop. Went straight into the league and started dominating.
God forbid a man's emotional.
Yeah.
God forbid. Crazy.
I think one other point that I had was we talk about who MJ kind of kept titleless. I don't feel like LeBron has really kept anybody notable, maybe besides Harden or Westbrook, as
But even then, it was like those guys were always out before they faced him.
right.
DeMar DeRozan.
Derrick Rose.
No, but I'm saying
Rose.
MJ kept Malone and Stockton, Charles Barkley titleless.
He robbed Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green of the greatest season of all time.
That I will have to say, but I mean it's so tough too because it's like two of those finals for LeBron, it's like you could just wash them out and call them 4-4 pretty much. It's like
Yeah.
you had to play peak Steph Curry, peak Klay Thompson,
With-
peak Kevin Durant, peak Draymond Green.
Yeah, well,
There's
you
a
had
peak
those,
Draymond Green.
and also 2015 before
I mean,
KD
like,
was there.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Before KD was there, in 2015, Kevin Love goes down in the first round, and then Kyrie Irving goes out. What, game one, or was it the Eastern Conference Finals? Either way, you lose your second two best players, and now you have to go and play a team that just won 67 games. He averaged a 33-point triple-double. Like, he played the best any player could possibly play. It was just the circumstances.
I mean, it's like I said, it's so tough to really just compare them because I mean, like Creston said, it's like Jordan was able to hold off Stockton and Malone 2 years in a row. I mean, it's just what both of them have done. I really
They just
think
had a really good defensive team. I mean, you had Jordan, Pippen,
Rodman.
They also had
That
one of
was
the
just-
greathave coaches of all time.
Right. And we have
Tyronn
Darvin
Lue.
Ham.
LeBron had
We have
Tyronn
Darvin.
Lue, and in
Frank Vogel.
2015 he had David Blatt. When's the last time you heard that man's name? He's legitimately probably in
Darvin
Turkey.
Ham.
I actually
Frank
wonder what
Vogel.
he's doing these days, legitimately.
Let's look.
Jamie, pull that up.
He's in Israel.
I was close.
Really?
I believe he's Russian. Like he came from
What
Russia
is
to coach
he
the
doing
Cavs.
over there?
Yeah, he's Russian.
He's an
Yeah.
interesting, yeah.
So he had a coach that wasn't good enough to stay at the NBA level.
Went
In
to
the NBA Finals.
Israeli basketball league.
Yeah.
I also want to kind of talk about really quickly their impact on their teams that they were on. Like, do you think Jordan made his teammates better or worse?
Worse.
Worse.
Do you think LeBron made his teammates better or worse?
Depends
Better.
on who you
That's-
are.
yeah.
If you're a bench player, he'll definitely try and incorporate you as kind of like a decoy or maybe third or fourth option. I don't know. Austin Reeves is really the only recent player I've seen.
Well, I think he's made
Um,
Anthony Davis better. He's
I
just
don't know.
having that guy to throw to create space and throw those lobs to you.
I've had this debate with my friends a little bit whether AD's truly grown as a player since like the 2019 season when he came over to Los Angeles.
He's
It's like
just been so inconsistent.
Yeah.
He had that 2019-2020 season. Yeah. I mean, he was good for like 2 seasons for us and then kind of just dropped offensively.
Well, and this is the 1 year where he was actually healthy, and then he gets injured at the worst possible time.
yeah, I mean it's like I said, it's so tough to kind of gauge. Like I think also like a lot of the problems with LeBron and his teammates aren't just that he makes his teammates like worse per se. It's that the limelight is so large when LeBron plays with you. The pressure is
I think it's
super
really been
high.
a thing since he got to the Lakers, and now everybody that comes there is like, oh, I'm a part of the end of LeBron's career. Like, it's win now. There's so much pressure to play with him that people just fall off. Shooting percentages drop, performances drop. I think before then, maybe you could say that last year in Cleveland too, they added a bunch of role players who just didn't really perform well. But before then, he always made his teammates better. He would always find them in the right places, dish them the ball like nobody else could, and just create spaces for them that they wouldn't get with anybody else.
It's so tough because it's like I think a lot of what they have to deal with is also the LA pressure just being
Yeah.
on the Lakers. It's like
It's
the
a-
limelight is just so
it's a
large
double
when you
whammy.
play there. Yeah. I mean, like, because, like, even with the Knicks, like, for the longest time, it's like they were just known as being comically bad.
Yeah.
So it's like the pressure there wasn't nearly as much as it is in Los Angeles. It's like the Lakers historically have been probably one of the most consistent franchises, right along with Boston, just both of them always being near the top.
Yeah.
Being run super, super flawlessly. I mean, all the way up until 2015, they had really never experienced like losing before.
I will say, though, too, I feel like that kind of plays into Jordan's hand, though, too, because you're in Chicago. You're not really a big market team. And when you have a guy like Michael Jordan come in and kind of give them the limelight, let's say Jordan lost both of those series to the Jazz. Would people say, oh, Michael Jordan, you failed us? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like him bringing that attention to Chicago also, like we were talking about, the impact of what they did.
I mean, if you look at Chicago before and after, they haven't
Yeah.
done anything on either side. Like, they're probably, if they weren't in Chicago, they'd be one of the most irrelevant franchises in basketball. It's kind of like how I look at New England in football.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say the same thing with Cleveland. They're only relevant because of LeBron James.
Yeah, they've really haven't done much of anything besides when he was there. Like
Yeah.
the years that he was there were their windows, and they haven't had a true window before or after.
Yeah, like they're all right now. They'll make the playoffs, but they're not making any noise.
No, I mean that's a different debate. Like
It's-
I think that team is underperforming what their talent is right now too. But
I also want to talk about the expectations coming into the league. Michael Jordan was the 3rd overall pick. Everybody was like, "Oh, this kid's gonna be good." Nobody was making magazines saying he's the chosen one. Putting all this pressure on his back. And LeBron has to come in right after Michael Jordan, and people are already calling him the next Jordan, making magazines about him when he's a junior in high school. They're putting his games on ESPN. Like so much hype, and then to come in the league at 18 and exceed expectations is just insane.
I don't, because we weren't like alive.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like some of us were alive at that point, but like we were.
Not enough to remember.
Yeah, I was not in any position to recall that time.
Yeah.
I was 3. What are you looking over at me for?
I don't know.
I was born LeBron's sophomore season in the league.
Something like that.
2004.
Yeah, I think
He's
I
been
was
in the league longer than I've been alive.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
never
mean,
mind. I was 2. I thought he was drafted in 04. Was it 03?
it
He's drafted
was
in
03, yeah.
03.
He was in that legendary 03 class with,
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
I think D Wade,
I
Chris
thought that was
Bosh,
04 for
and
a
someone
second.
else was in that one
Carmelo,
too.
yeah.
Carmelo, yeah. I completely blanked on that, but
Darko Milicic, don't forget him. Show some
I wonder what
respect.
he's doing these
I think
days.
he's a farmer now.
Yeah.
I think you're right,
In
actually.
In Turkey.
Back in Serbia, I
a
think.
Turkish farmer.
But I guess the last point I want to bring up really quick is Jordan averaging 33 in the playoffs versus LeBron's 30. Is that simply attributed to just LeBron being more of a facilitator in your eyes?
Yeah. He's looking to pass the ball. Every time Michael Jordan gets it, he's looking to score. And then LeBron is looking to pass, but still puts up 30. He's 1st in points all time, 4th in assists, the only non-point guard in that top 10.
But also, you could make the argument that he's just played for so long, eventually he's going to make his way all the way up those ranks, too.
I mean, other guys have played that long. Haven't done a shed of what he's done. Vince Carter.
Yeah, Vince.
Vince Carter, yeah, that was...
Well, you can take there's that stat. Everybody else in their 21st season, add all their stats together, and LeBron doubles that alone.
I can't really argue against that. I mean, Creston, do you have anything? Or Ryan and Michael, you guys haven't said too much on this, but do you guys have anything to counter that?
I still think Jordan's the GOAT, honestly.
Michael?
What, just like as like a last minute defense or something?
I don't know, just in general, because, I mean, I'm still going to be on Team Jordan after this, but I think you guys both made a very compelling case today.
Thank you, Chris.
I'm still sad.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I'm taking my anger out on this debate.
I'm not. I don't even care anymore.
It's just basketball,
I don't
right?
care. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
basketball.
that's kind of what I'm thinking, really. I mean, I do like Michael Jordan in a sense, and I think I guess you could say he was kind of, how do you say this? Like, I guess he was more legendary, if that makes sense. Like he was just sort of like a pioneer to the sport, I guess you could say. But outside of that, I don't.
I think both of them truly...
I think they both have their own case.
I think both of them grew the game.
Yeah.
Like, because Jordan introduced Jordan Brand, which is now incredibly popular. But LeBron
Yeah.
also, he's probably the most marketable basketball player of all time. It's either him or Jordan. They're 1A and 1B in that regard.
Those Sprite Cranberry commercials were legendary.
You want a Sprite cranberry?
Exactly.
It's the
You know the
thirstiest
tagline.
time of the year.
It's the thirstiest time.
I say we just give Jordan go to the 90s and LeBron go to the 2010s.
Boo.
I think, honestly,
Ooh,
that's a
not good
fair
enough.
way to put
Womp
it.
womp.
I think it's so hard to truly evaluate a GOAT in any sport.
Because,
Alright.
like, people are like, oh, Mahomes versus Brady. That's a little bit easier because they played,
In the similar
Yeah.
era.
whereas, like we were talking about, Jordan didn't really play in a time where
Also, Jordan retired right before LeBron got there. LeBron saw Wemby coming. He didn't decide to retire. He did not duck the smoke. He
Nor
came in.
Zion.
Or Zion. Everybody that's been supposed to be the next LeBron. LeBron's come in and just humbled them.
Did people actually call Zion the next LeBron?
Yep.
Yeah.
People got Ben Simmons the next LeBron.
Yeah.
They surely. I saw
was-
the next Magic Johnson for him. So
Yeah. LeBron is like Magic Johnson, but with the scoring ability of, a bunch of players. put
Pretty
together.
much anybody you
Yeah.
could put.
Now he's a 40% 3-point shooter. At that size is insane.
I
to
guess
attack the basket and
the
score at
final
will.
question, this isn't related to the debate, but do you think he comes back again for another year?
Yep.
Or do you think
Yeah.
he hangs it up?
Yeah.
No, he comes
He would
back.
have. He's doing a farewell tour. I love LeBron. He is a bit
He needs
theatrical.
the attention. Yeah.
He loves the attention. He's gonna do the farewell tour.
I always kind of saw like Jordan as more the Tom Brady type and Aaron Rodgers and LeBron kind of being comparable in that way.
Yeah.
It's like Aaron Rodgers always needs the spotlight. Like
Yeah.
when he retires, you know it's his retirement year because he's going to do the same
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Oh, Tom Brady was a bit dramatic with his retirement too. Retired, came back a month later, then retired again.
That's why he's like Jordan.
Yeah,
Jordan did retire and unretire multiple times.
retired 3 times.
For gambling.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
We are not.
retired.
I'm not.
He did it.
More like-
He did it.
more
I'm
like
not
got
going to
kicked out of
speculate
the
on this
league.
show. I'm just going to put it that way.
No, well, I heard from my guy.
Oh, from your source,
Yeah.
anonymous source, of course.
Apparently,
I talked to
his bookie or something.
Yeah, I talked to David Stern.
Yeah.
They told me that what actually went down.
Bought the frozen envelope too,
Yeah,
and the 2002 Lakers Kings series.
yeah.
And the vetoed Chris Paul trade.
Yeah, all that stuff.
I know
Which
about
one
all
was
those
that?
things.
Well, the frozen envelope was.
The
That was-
Knicks.
that was
when
the
they
first
got
ever lottery. The
Patrick Ewing,
Knicks got
right?
Patrick Ewing.
Yeah,
They wanted him to be in a big market, so the envelope was allegedly cold. So
Yeah,
that way when
yeah,
David Stern
yeah,
touched
yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah,
What was
he
the
would
one-
know.
What was the second one you said after that?
What was
Lakers Kings series.
it? When Kobe Bryant elbowed Mike Bibby in the head,
yeah.
and Mike Bibby
the
got called
Kings
for a
were
foul.
supposed to go to the finals, and they just got no calls.
Yep. I watched a collapse video on them a couple of months ago. That was pretty interesting.
I can't wait for the collapse video on the Denver Nuggets when they get swept by the Timberwolves.
The Bucks one is coming within the next year or
Oh,
two,
yeah.
I
It's
have a
gonna
feeling.
I
but,
can't
uh,
wait for the Nuggets' downfall.
With that, we're going to move into final thoughts.
real.
And for my final thought, I want to give a shout out to our 2 senior hosts this year, Sam Strash and Nolan Kopodlowski. Thank you for everything you guys have done for the station. Both have been hosting for over a year now, and you both are incredible at what you do. I wish you the best of luck in the rest of your careers. I know, Sam, you're going to grad school. Hopefully, we'll see you around here again sometime. And Nolan, thank you. I know you're really involved with the TV station as well, just doing a great job day in and day out for both UWW-TV and for 91.7 The Edge. Just thank you and good luck in the rest of your lives. Alex?
How do you even
We
follow
don't-
that? Oh my god.
We going to Quick Trip after that one? Chris?
Yeah, I was about to say that, but yeah, everything Chris said. Lakers in 4 next year.
Against two.
Everyone,
Okay.
everyone they play.
Lakers are going 82-0 and then 16-0 in the playoffs next year.
Also, I guess my
Fuck
final thought is it's unfortunate that the Bucks have to go out the way they do,
Yeah,
but
thank you, Bucks fans.
Injured,
yeah, thank you, Bucks
wounded.
fans. Yep. I think we sold our souls in 2021.
Yeah.
Ryan?
Yeah, like some injuries I'm looking at here. Like, Luka Doncic has a knee sprain. He's probable for Game 5. Clippers rule out Kawhi for Game 5 against the Mavericks. And,
Knee inflammation.
and,
Not shocking.
Kristaps Porzingis will miss at least several games for Boston.
That's going to be huge, but I don't think it's going to affect them. Like, it's important, but it's also not. You know what I mean?
Does Jamal Murray have the same injury that Giannis does?
I think Porzingis does.
Okay. Because I was just
The soleus sprain.
yeah, I know.
I never heard of that until Giannis got it.
Yeah, I know that Jamal Murray had his thing or his calf taped up yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I
Didn't
haven't been
matter.
keeping tabs
how
on
about
that.
Didn't
how about
matter.
The injury that Embiid has right now.
Which
The
ones,
injury that he
right?
shouldn't be playing through, but is anyway.
Yeah, which
Oh,
one?
like, missed
Yeah, all 6 of them.
I also want to thank you, Chris. Thank you for being a great host.
It was a
Great
pleasure to
host.
work with you guys too.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Colin?
Yeah, it was a great semester. Here on Hawk Talk, you were a very gracious host, Chris. A lot of fun times. Shout out to Sam and Nolan, like you said. And this one's directly to the Denver Nuggets. Your time is coming. Count your days. That's all.
I think it's gonna be tough to stop them even for Boston this year.
Minnesota in 6.
That is the one
Only
team
time I
in
would
my
ever
eyes that
root for
matches up.
Minnesota.
Minnesota in 4.
I think Minnesota matches up the best out of anyone with them.
Yeah. Gobert on Jokic, locked.
I hope Anthony Edwards dunks on
Talk
Nikola
about a
Jokic
traffic
and Jamal
cone.
Murray at the same time.
Yeah, I think my final thought is the MLB's finally switching their jerseys after the atrocious.
Oh,
But they won't do
Thank
it till
you.
next year.
Yeah.
They won't do it till next year. But
either way.
the atrociousness of those jerseys are just
The see-through ones.
Yeah.
Yes, they're
they
terrible.
rip. Yeah, just bad.
Michael?
Well, thank you guys for having me here on Radio Practicum here in this class for Hawk Talk and all of that. I don't plan on being anything related next semester, as I'm going to be focusing more on like TV production, but
You got our
Me and
softball
Colin
game
will
on
be
Friday
here.
still.
well, I mean
Oh, yeah.
that
We will
I'm
be
just
here.
talking
We were
about
racking
like
things up.
specifically like I'm not taking this course next semester. Basically,
Okay.
my point. I might do it like next spring, but we'll see.
All right. Well, that'll do it for our final 2023-2024 school year Hawk Talk here on 91.7 The Edge, WSUW Whitewater. Also streaming live on UWW-TV through YouTube. For everyone here, thank you guys again for tuning in. Make sure to tune in to Carson's final show here on Wednesday tomorrow. For everyone on the show, I'm Chris Pittner saying so long, and we'll see you again next year.